Welcome, Course 1, to your very first video. Alright, so what we're going to do today is, this evening, we're going to kind of build on what we did in class today. So let's take a look at what we were talking about. And let's take a number like this. Okay? And a couple of the skills that we need to be able to do is we need to be able to take this number that is written in standard form, and we need to be able to write it and identify the place value, and we need to be able to write it in word form. Okay, first of all, let's talk about place value. Alright, so starting from the left, actually starting from the 2, we talked about how that's the center of the number. That's the 2 represents the ones place. To the left of that, we have increasing place values. The 0 would represent the tens. There are none in this case. The 4 represents the hundreds place, so this would represent 400. And finally, the 1 would represent the thousands place. So if we were to write this into standard form, we would have 1,000. Sorry for my penmanship, I'm writing with a stylus. Plus 400. No tens, so we can leave that blank, and 2 ones. Now, starting from the 2 moving to the right, we have decreasing place value. So we have things like the tenths, the hundreds, the thousands, the 10,000s. So the 7 represents the tenths. So the 7 actually represents 0.7. The 0 following the 7, the one just to the right, is the hundreds. And in this number, there are no hundreds. To the right of that is another 0. That represents the thousands. And so this number has no thousands. But moving to the right of that, the 3 represents the 10,000s. So again, we have the tenths, the hundreds, the thousands. 3 is actually the 10,000s. So that is the number written above, written in expanded form. Okay, so standard form is what we started with. That's this number up here. I'm sorry, my arrow's not working very well. And this number here that we've just written out is expanded form. Now, to write this out in words, let's go back to the original number. Okay, we're going to start from the very left. And this is the way your parents would write this amount if they were writing out a check, all in words. So this word is 1,000, comma, just like in the number, 400, 2. Now you might be tempted to say and 2. A lot of people do when we're talking. But the correct way to read the front part of this number is 1,402. The and, I'm going to make a big deal out of this, I'm going to make it all in caps here, is the decimal point. And then moving to the right of the decimal point, we see, ignoring the place value for a second, we see a number that basically looks like 7,003. Now, to identify the place value that we're going to put right here, we look at the very last non-zero digit of the decimal. Now, count with me. Starting from the decimal, we have tenths, hundreds, thousands. This is the 10,000ths decimal place. So that's what we're going to finish this with, 10,000ths. So the number above, written out in words, is 1,402 and 7,003 10,000ths. Now that's kind of a mouthful, and it's a little difficult to write in words. Consequently, we're not going to have to do it that often, but it is a skill that we're going to need. Okay, let's go the opposite direction. Suppose I give you a number that's all written out in word form, and instead we need to change it into a number in standard form. So I have 3,024 and 7,003 10,000ths. Okay, so let's go in the opposite direction now. This time we're going to write the first part out, 3,024 and. So we're going to identify just this part right here up to the and we're going to write that out. So that's 3,024. So there's no hundredths, so we're going to leave that as a 0. So we get 3,024, and the and is the decimal point. Now, before we write out the 7,003, we're going to actually look at these last words right here, 10 thousandths. This is what we talked about in class today. It's kind of like playing the game Hangman. We're going to identify the 10 thousandths places. So we're going to have the tenths place, we're going to put a blank there, and then the hundredths place, and then the thousandths place, and then finally this number ends in the 10 thousandths place. Now, to write 7003, to fill up those 4 blanks, we're going to start right here at the leftmost. We're going to put in 2 zeros, and we're going to write in 7003 to fill up those blanks. We have now written the number 3024 and 7003, again, 10 thousandths in standard form. Okay, so that takes care of standard form. Now, to change it into expanded form, every non-zero digit has to be written as a separate number. So the 3 really means 3,000. That's what the 3 right here really means. There are no hundreds again, so the 2 represents 2 tens, or 20. The 4 represents 4 ones, which is just 4. The 7, we'll switch colors to blue here, represents 7 tenths. That's the tenths place right here. So we would just write 0.7 for that one. Sorry, my decimal's not coming out very clear. And then finally, we don't need to worry about the next part. Oops, sorry, that plus says a little about. The next 0 is the hundredths. There are none. And the next 0 after that is the thousandths. Again, there are none. But the 3, and if we run out of room, we're going to come down here, represents the 10 thousandths. So we're going to repeat 3 zeros and then put the 3 in for the 10 thousandths. And let's make sure we did that right. That's the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths place. So this entire number right here, including that plus sign, is the number 3024 and 7003, 10 thousandths, written in expanded form. And the top number is it written in standard form. So you've got word form, standard form, and finally expanded form. These are going to be the 3 terminologies that you're going to need throughout this chapter for dealing with decimals. Okay, let's practice changing a couple more word decimals into let's change these words into decimals in standard form. So again, we're going to key in on the last word. And thousandths, we should remember, means, count with me, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. It means 3 decimal places. Now, to fill in 45 thousandths, well, let's think about that. 45 is only 2 digits. So we're not going to need all 3 blanks. So we're going to put the 45 so that it always ends in the last place, the one that corresponds with the word, the decimal value of thousandths. And since we have a blank out front, we're going to put a 0 in there. So 45 thousandths is actually going to be 0.045. Similarly, let's look at the next one. The next one is 7 10 thousandths. So again, start at the decimal place and play a little hangman game. This is like a number version, a number decimal version of hangman. The place values are tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths. And to make the number 7 end in this place, and since it's just a single digit, we're going to put a 7 right there. So we're going to actually fill in all of the left here with zeros. And that is how we write the decimal standard form for 7 10 thousandths. All right. Well, that's all I'm going to give you for now. And again, that's just following up a little bit more on the discussions we had in class today. Tomorrow in class, you'll have a quick daily quiz on this video. If you're feeling like you weren't paying quite enough attention to it, you might want to back up just a few minutes. It's less than 10 minutes. So go ahead and watch it again. And then tomorrow we'll have that 4-question quiz. If you want to get out your notebook right now and write down a question, either one that you don't know the answer to that you'd like me to answer for you tomorrow, or one that you think would make a good quiz or test question when we get to our first chapter test, either one that just demonstrates that you really did watch this video and you paid good attention. And you can do that right now. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and as always, I will see you tomorrow.